In a courtroom where silence hangs thick like fog, a woman enters, her weary face betraying the weight of despair. Clutching the hands of two small children, their wide eyes reflect a mix of fear and uncertainty. As Judge Alejandro Fuentes, a man renowned for his wisdom and fairness, lifts his gaze to the accused, a flicker of recognition ignites within him. The moment is electric. The stakes are high. Lucia Ramos stands before him accused of theft and fraud, yet something about her stirs memories long buried. Time seems to stand still as the judge grapples with his emotions. Decades ago, in a neighborhood filled with laughter and innocence, a young Alejandro shared dreams and secrets with Lucia, his childhood friend. Now the woman he once knew is a shadow of her former self, entangled in a web of legal accusations. The evidence against her is damning. A surveillance video depicting her pilfering food from a store, a portrayal crafted by a relentless prosecution that seeks to paint her as a hardened criminal. But beneath the surface lies a story of desperation, one that challenges the very foundations of justice. As Lucia takes the stand, her voice trembles with raw honesty. She recounts the tragic events that have led her to this moment, the loss of her husband in a tragic accident, the subsequent eviction that left her and her children homeless, and the choices born from sheer survival instinct. Judge Fuentes, a man of the law, finds himself wrestling with an unfamiliar conflict. His duty to uphold justice clashes with a burgeoning empathy for the woman he once called a friend. The courtroom, filled with tension, becomes a battleground not just for legal arguments, but for the very essence of humanity. The case escalates when an unexpected witness rises from the audience, Don Ernesto, Lucia's former employer. His testimony reveals a side of Lucia that the prosecution has ignored, her unwavering work ethic and the circumstances that pushed her to desperate measures. As the judge listens, he feels the weight of his childhood memories pressing down on him, forcing him to confront the reality that justice is not merely about punishment, but about understanding the complexities of human experience. He knows the law must be upheld, yet he cannot shake the feeling that true justice requires more than a verdict. It demands compassion. As the trial unfolds, Judge Fuentes embarks on a quest for truth, ordering further investigations into Lucia's claims. The revelations that follow illuminate the corruption of her former landlord, painting a clearer picture of her plight. With each piece of evidence, the judge's internal struggle intensifies. The courtroom holds its breath as he prepares to deliver his verdict, a decision that could change the course of Lucia's life forever. In this moment, the boundaries of justice and mercy blur, challenging not just the law but the very definition of what it means to be human. The courtroom buzzes with tension, a palpable energy hanging in the air as Judge Alejandro Fuentes prepares to preside over a case that feels all too personal. The polished wood of the bench gleams under the harsh fluorescent lights, casting an unforgiving glare on the proceedings. As the judge scans the room, the weight of his years in the judiciary settles heavily on his shoulders. He has seen countless faces come and go, each with their own story. But today one face stands out, Lucia Ramos. Years have passed since Alejandro last saw her, yet her presence stirs memories of their childhood in a modest neighborhood where laughter often masked the struggles of life. Back then they were inseparable, two children navigating the complexities of their environment, sharing dreams and secrets. Now, Lucia stands before him, transformed by hardship, her eyes reflecting a mixture of fear and resilience as she clutches her children's hands. The contrast between the carefree girl he once knew and the woman accused of theft and fraud is striking, igniting a flicker of recognition that challenges his commitment to impartiality. As the trial unfolds, evidence mounts against Lucia, painting her as a desperate criminal. The prosecution's narrative, bolstered by surveillance footage and a history of prior offenses, seeks to portray her as a repeat offender devoid of remorse. Yet, the deeper Alejandro listens, the more he grapples with the reality of her situation. Lucia's story unfolds like a tragic tapestry, revealing layers of loss and desperation that led her to this moment. The judge's heart aches as he learns of her husband's untimely death, the loss of her job, and the eviction that left her with nowhere to turn. Each testimony and piece of evidence weighs heavily on his conscience, forcing him to confront the very essence of justice. In a surprising twist, an unexpected witness emerges, Don Ernesto, a figure from Lucia's past. His words cut through the courtroom's tension, painting a different picture of the woman on trial. He recounts her unwavering work ethic and the kindness she showed even in the face of adversity. Alejandro feels the scales of justice tipping, and his resolve begins to waver. The memories of their shared childhood resurface, igniting a fierce internal conflict between his duty as a judge and the compassion he feels for a friend lost to time and circumstance. As the trial nears its conclusion, Alejandro's mind races with questions that extend beyond the courtroom. How can he uphold the law while recognizing the humanity behind the accusations? The verdict looms, and with it the weight of his decision threatens to redefine not just Lucia's future, but his own understanding of justice. In this moment, he realizes that true justice is not merely about punishment. It is about acknowledging the stories that shape each individual and the choices they make in the face of overwhelming odds. The courtroom holds its breath, waiting for a ruling that could change everything. Join our vibrant community today and unlock a world of inspiration and support. By subscribing, you'll gain access to exclusive content, insightful discussions, and the chance to connect with like-minded individuals who share your passions. Your voice matters. Share your thoughts in the comments and help shape our journey together. Let's empower each other to reach new heights. Your next adventure starts here. In a dimly lit courtroom, the air is thick with tension as Judge Alejandro Fuentes prepares to preside over a case that feels eerily personal. Lucia Ramos stands accused of theft and fraud, her modest attire, and the anxious faces of her two young children revealing the weight of her circumstances. What should be a straightforward legal proceeding transforms into a deeply emotional confrontation as Fuentes grapples with a haunting familiarity. This is not just another case. It is a collision of past and present, where the boundaries of justice and compassion blur. Judge Fuentes, a man renowned for his impartiality, finds himself at a crossroads. The evidence against Lucia is compelling. Surveillance footage and testimonies paint her as a repeat offender. Yet as he studies her face, memories of a shared childhood flood back, igniting a flicker of empathy that challenges his commitment to the law. The courtroom is not merely a venue for legal proceedings, it becomes a stage for moral reflection, where the judge must weigh the integrity of the judicial system against the nuances of human experience. This internal conflict raises profound questions. What does justice truly mean when the accused is someone he once called a friend? As the trial unfolds, the narrative deepens, revealing Lucia's tragic backstory. A widow struggling to provide for her children, she resorted to desperate measures in a world that had turned its back on her. The judge listens intently, wrestling with the implications of her plight. The prosecution's relentless pursuit of a harsh sentence contrasts sharply with the judge's growing sense of compassion. This tension highlights a crucial theme. The law, while a necessary structure, often fails to account for the complexities of individual lives. The courtroom becomes a microcosm of societal issues, reflecting the broader struggles faced by those in poverty and the systemic barriers that perpetuate their suffering. The introduction of unexpected witnesses further complicates the narrative. Don Ernesto, Lucia's former employer, offers a testament to her character, challenging the prosecutor's portrayal of her as a hardened criminal. As the judge listens, he is forced to confront his own biases and the societal narratives that shape perceptions of guilt and innocence. This pivotal moment underscores the importance of community and support systems in the face of adversity. It compels the audience to consider the broader implications of their own judgments and the stories that often go unheard. Ultimately, Judge Fuentes' decision will not only impact Lucia's life, but also set a precedent for how the law interacts with human dignity. His ruling will challenge the conventional understanding of justice, urging society to embrace a more compassionate approach. As the courtroom awaits the verdict, the stakes become clear. This is not just about one woman's fate, but about the very essence of humanity within the legal system. The unfolding drama invites readers to reflect on their own beliefs about justice, empathy, and the power of second chances. What will happen next? The answer lies not just in the courtroom, but in the hearts of those who dare to listen and understand. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting long shadows across the courtroom, the silence was palpable. Just days prior, a report had surfaced, revealing that nearly 40% of families in the city were living below the poverty line, a statistic that weighed heavily on the community. With the cost of living soaring and job opportunities dwindling, desperation was becoming a common thread in the fabric of everyday life. In this charged atmosphere, the case of Lucia Ramos emerged, a stark reminder of the urgent need for compassion within the justice system. Judge Alejandro Fuentes, a man known for his unwavering commitment to fairness, found himself grappling with an unsettling truth. The law often fails to account for the human stories behind each case. Lucia, standing before him, was not just a defendant. She was a mother pushed to the brink by circumstances beyond her control. The evidence against her was damning, yet the judge felt an undeniable connection to her plight. He recalled how many families like Lucia's were ensnared in a cycle of poverty where the line between right and wrong blurred under the weight of survival. The core problem lay in the systemic failures that led to Lucia's actions. The courtroom was a microcosm of a larger societal issue, one where individuals are often judged solely by their actions, without understanding the dire circumstances that drive them. As the prosecution painted Lucia as a repeat offender, Judge Fuentes couldn't help but question the narrative being constructed. Was the law serving justice, or was it merely a tool for punishment? With each piece of evidence presented, he felt the urgency to bridge the gap between legal obligation and moral responsibility. This case was not just about theft, it was a reflection of the struggles faced by countless families. The judge realized that understanding these struggles was critical, not only for Lucia, but for the future of the justice system itself. As he prepared to deliver his verdict, he understood that the decision he made would resonate far beyond the courtroom walls. It was a pivotal moment that could redefine how society viewed justice, one that prioritized empathy and understanding over blind adherence to the law. In the end, Judge Fuentes knew that true justice must encompass more than mere punishment. It should foster redemption and provide opportunities for rebuilding lives. The urgency to address the systemic issues that led to Lucia's actions was clear. With the weight of the community's struggles on his shoulders, he prepared to make a decision that could inspire change, not just for Lucia, but for all those who found themselves in similar situations. This case was a call to action, urging society to confront the uncomfortable truths about poverty, justice, and the human experience. The courtroom atmosphere is thick with tension, as Judge Alejandro Fuentes grapples with an unexpected wave of recognition while presiding over a case that seems straightforward on the surface. The defendant, Lucia Ramos, stands accused of theft and fraud, her modest attire and the frightened faces of her children starkly contrasting with the severity of the charges against her. As the judge's gaze lingers on Lucia, memories from his own past begin to surface, intertwining his sense of justice with a personal connection that complicates his role. This moment marks the beginning of a moral quandary that will challenge the very foundations of his judicial philosophy. As the prosecution lays out its case, bolstered by surveillance footage depicting Lucia stealing food, the narrative of a repeat offender emerges. Yet, the absence of a legal defense raises questions about the fairness of the proceedings. Lucia's situation is dire. Her husband's tragic death and subsequent loss of employment have left her desperate and vulnerable. The courtroom, typically a bastion of law and order, becomes a stage for exploring the human condition, as the judge wrestles with the implications of punishing a mother whose actions stem from sheer survival instinct. When Lucia takes the stand, her testimony reveals the heartbreaking circumstances that led her to this point. Her words resonate deeply with Judge Fuentes, who finds himself torn between the rigid application of the law and the compassion he feels for her plight. This internal struggle intensifies when the prosecution, led by the relentless Martinez, attempts to paint Lucia as a manipulative criminal, further complicating the judge's emotional landscape. The courtroom transforms into a battleground of ethics, where the law's cold logic clashes with the warmth of human empathy. An unexpected twist occurs when Don Ernesto, Lucia's former employer, rises to testify in her defense. His words provide a counter-narrative to the prosecution's claims, highlighting Lucia's past integrity and the unfortunate circumstances that led her astray. This testimony reignites the judge's memories of their shared childhood, amplifying the conflict between his duty and his personal history. The courtroom, once a place of detached judgment, now feels like a community grappling with the consequences of systemic failures. Faced with mounting evidence that reveals Lucia's eviction, was orchestrated by a corrupt landlord, Judge Fuentes is compelled to reassess the case in light of these new revelations. The pursuit of truth becomes paramount, and the judge's decision-making process evolves. He understands that true justice cannot be achieved by merely adhering to legal statutes. It must also account for the societal factors that contribute to crime. This realization guides him toward a verdict that balances accountability with compassion. In delivering his ruling, Judge Fuentes opts for a suspended sentence for Lucia, mandating community service and legal aid instead of incarceration. This decision not only shocks the courtroom, but also sets a precedent that challenges the traditional notions of justice. As Lucia embraces her children, overwhelmed with relief, the judge feels a profound sense of fulfillment, recognizing that his role extends beyond the confines of the law. The case becomes a catalyst for change, prompting questions about the broader implications of justice in society. The journey of Lucia and the corrupt landlord is far from over, but the seeds of hope have been planted, suggesting that redemption is possible even in the darkest of circumstances. As Judge Alejandro Fuentes sat in his chambers, the weight of the day's events pressed heavily upon him. He recalled the countless cases he had presided over, each one a testament to the law's unwavering grip on society. Yet today was different. The haunting familiarity of Lucia's face stirred a profound introspection within him. He realized that true justice extends beyond the confines of legal statutes. It requires understanding the intricate tapestry of human experience. To navigate this moral labyrinth, Judge Fuentes initiated a series of practical steps. First, he engaged with social workers and community organizations to gain insights into the systemic issues that often lead individuals like Lucia to desperate measures. He learned about programs aimed at providing legal aid and support for single parents, which could potentially assist Lucia in her journey toward rebuilding her life. By fostering these connections, he aimed to bridge the gap between the courtroom and the community, ensuring that justice was not an abstract concept but a lived reality. In the days that followed, Fuentes organized a workshop for local legal professionals, emphasizing the importance of empathy in the judicial process. He encouraged them to consider not just the evidence presented, but also the broader social context surrounding each case. This initiative sparked discussions on restorative justice, where the focus shifts from punishment to rehabilitation. By sharing Lucia's story, he illustrated how understanding a defendant's circumstances could lead to more compassionate and effective outcomes. As the trial progressed, Judge Fuentes took the unusual step of allowing community members to submit letters of support for Lucia. These letters, filled with personal testimonies and expressions of solidarity, painted a vivid picture of her character and the challenges she faced. This approach not only humanized Lucia in the eyes of the court, but also fostered a sense of communal responsibility, prompting others to reflect on their roles in supporting those in need. In the climax of the trial, when Fuentes delivered his verdict, he felt the collective breath of the courtroom held in suspense. His decision to suspend Lucia's sentence and mandate community service was not merely a legal maneuver. It was a call to action for society to recognize its role in shaping the lives of its most vulnerable members. He urged the audience to consider how they could contribute to preventing such situations in the future, whether through volunteering, advocating for policy changes, or simply offering support to those in their communities. After the verdict, Fuentes continued his advocacy work, collaborating with local leaders to address the systemic issues that had contributed to Lucia's plight. He spearheaded initiatives aimed at increasing affordable housing and access to employment resources. By transforming his courtroom experience into a catalyst for change, he sought to inspire others to take actionable steps toward fostering a more just society. In reflecting on the case, Judge Fuentes understood that the impact of his decision reached far beyond the courtroom walls. It ignited a movement toward compassion and accountability, challenging everyone involved to reconsider their perceptions of justice. The journey ahead would not be easy, but with each small step taken by individuals and communities, the possibility of a more equitable future became increasingly tangible. In the heart of the courtroom drama, the tension escalates as Judge Alejandro Fuentes grapples with the weight of his memories and the implications of his decisions. The narrative unfolds not just as a legal battle, but as a profound exploration of human resilience and the complexities of morality. Research indicates that empathy in judicial settings can lead to more equitable outcomes, highlighting the importance of understanding the circumstances surrounding each case. Judge Fuentes embodies this principle as he navigates the fine line between justice and compassion. His recognition of Lucia Ramos not only serves as a catalyst for his internal conflict, but also illustrates the impact of personal history on professional duty. As the trial progresses, the courtroom becomes a microcosm of societal struggles. Lucia's testimony reveals the stark realities faced by many in her situation: loss, desperation, and the instinct to survive. Studies show that economic hardship can drive individuals toward criminal behavior, often blurring the lines of right and wrong. This backdrop adds layers to the central conflict, prompting the judge to reflect on his own past and the societal structures that led Lucia to this moment. The introduction of Don Ernesto as a witness further complicates the narrative, as his defense of Lucia challenges the prosecutor's portrayal of her as merely a criminal. This pivotal moment emphasizes the importance of community and support systems, suggesting that redemption is often a collective effort rather than an individual journey. In the climax, Judge Fuentes' ruling serves as a powerful statement on the nature of justice. By suspending Lucia's sentence and mandating community service, he not only addresses her immediate needs, but also sends a message about the potential for rehabilitation. His decision to investigate the corrupt landlord reflects a broader commitment to systemic change, underscoring that true justice extends beyond the courtroom. This nuanced approach aligns with contemporary legal theories advocating for restorative justice, which prioritizes healing over punishment. As Lucia embraces her children, the courtroom's emotional release signifies a turning point, not just for her, but for the community as a whole. Ultimately, the story encapsulates a transformative journey where personal connections and societal issues intertwine, prompting a re-evaluation of what it means to uphold the law. Judge Fuentes' actions resonate as a call to action for a more compassionate legal system, one that recognizes the humanity behind each case. As the narrative concludes, it leaves readers pondering the future for Lucia, her children, and the landlord who exploited her vulnerability, inviting them to reflect on the broader implications of justice in their own lives. This engaging tale not only captivates, but also challenges us to consider the stories behind the headlines, urging a deeper understanding of the human experience. In the heart of the courtroom, where justice and humanity often collide, Judge Alejandro Fuentes finds himself at a crossroads that transcends the mere application of law. His encounter with Lucia Ramos, a woman ensnared in the web of poverty and desperation, resonates deeply within the framework of contemporary legal discussions. Research indicates that socioeconomic factors play a significant role in criminal behavior. For instance, a study published in the Journal of Criminal Justice reveals that individuals from economically disadvantaged backgrounds are more likely to engage in theft as a means of survival. Hershey and Gottfredson, 1983. Lucia's story is not just an isolated incident, it reflects a broader societal issue where systemic inequalities push individuals toward crime. As the courtroom drama unfolds, the evidence against Lucia appears damning. Surveillance footage shows her stealing food, and the prosecution paints her as a repeat offender. Yet, as Judge Fuentes grapples with his memories of their childhood, he recalls the innocence of their youth in a neighborhood where hope was scarce. The American Psychological Association highlights how childhood experiences significantly shape adult behavior, suggesting that early relationships and community support can foster resilience. APA 2019. Lucia's past with Judge Fuentes illustrates the profound impact of these formative years, complicating the judge's perception of justice. The prosecution's relentless pursuit of a harsh sentence exemplifies a legal system often criticized for its lack of empathy. The National Institute of Justice emphasizes that punitive measures alone do not address the root causes of criminal behavior, advocating for rehabilitation and restorative justice as more effective alternatives. NIJ 2020. This perspective aligns with Judge Fuentes' internal struggle as he weighs the law against the moral imperative to understand Lucia's plight. His decision to suspend her sentence and mandate community service reflects a growing recognition within the legal community that justice must encompass compassion. Moreover, the emergence of Don Ernesto, Lucia's former employer, underscores the importance of community testimony in legal proceedings. His defense of Lucia as a hard-working individual reveals the complexities of character that are often overlooked in court. Research suggests that positive community relationships can mitigate the effects of poverty on crime, reinforcing the notion that individuals are not defined solely by their mistakes. Sampson and Lobb, 1993. Judge Fuentes' decision to investigate Lucia's unjust eviction further highlights the need for a legal system that seeks truth beyond the surface of allegations. As the story progresses toward its climax, the courtroom becomes a microcosm of societal challenges. Judge Fuentes' ruling not only delivers a verdict, but also initiates a dialogue about the role of the judiciary in addressing systemic injustices. His assertion that justice is not just about punishment, it's also about redemption, encapsulates a transformative approach that resonates with modern legal philosophies, advocating for a more empathetic judicial process. In conclusion, the narrative of Judge Fuentes and Lucia Ramos serves as a poignant reminder that true justice transcends the rigid boundaries of law. It calls for a deeper understanding of the human experiences that shape individuals' lives and choices. As society grapples with issues of inequality and justice, stories like these challenge us to reconsider our definitions of fairness and compassion, urging a collective movement toward a more equitable future. In a tense courtroom setting, the story unfolds around Judge Alejandro Fuentes, a man of integrity who faces an unexpected emotional turmoil upon recognizing the defendant, Lucia Ramos. Accused of theft and fraud, Lucia's situation appears dire as the prosecution presents damning evidence, painting her as a habitual offender. However, the judge's memories of their shared childhood begin to surface, complicating his role as an impartial arbiter of justice. Lucia's tragic narrative emerges as she recounts the hardships that led her to desperate actions, including the loss of her husband and subsequent eviction, which resonate deeply with Fuentes. As the trial progresses, the relentless prosecutor intensifies his attack, further solidifying Lucia's portrayal as a manipulative criminal. Yet the courtroom dynamic shifts dramatically when Don Ernesto, an unexpected witness, testifies in Lucia's defense. His account of her character challenges the narrative of deceit, prompting Judge Fuentes to grapple with his own biases and the moral implications of the law. The judge embarks on a quest for truth, leading to revelations about Lucia's unfair eviction, ultimately reshaping the case's trajectory. In a climactic moment, Judge Fuentes delivers his verdict, finding Lucia guilty but opting for a suspended sentence that emphasizes community service and legal aid rather than incarceration. His decision shocks the courtroom, especially the prosecutor, but Fuentes articulates a profound understanding of justice that transcends mere punishment. This ruling not only offers Lucia a chance at redemption, but also sets a precedent for compassion within the legal system. As Lucia embraces her children in relief, the judge finds solace in his choice, recognizing that true justice involves acknowledging the human stories intertwined with the law. The narrative leaves the audience pondering the fate of Lucia's former landlord and her potential for rebuilding her life, inviting them to reflect on the broader implications of empathy and understanding in the pursuit of justice. In the gripping tale of Judge Alejandro Fuentes and Lucia Ramos, the narrative unfolds in a courtroom where the boundaries of law and compassion blur. Judge Fuentes, a man known for his unwavering commitment to justice, finds himself faced with a moral quandary as he recognizes the defendant, Lucia, from his past. This connection ignites a series of events that challenge his understanding of justice, forcing him to confront the harsh realities that drive individuals to crime. Lucia's desperate circumstances, losing her husband, her job, and ultimately her home, paint a poignant picture of survival that resonates deeply with the judge. As the case progresses, the courtroom becomes a battleground between the prosecution's relentless pursuit of punishment and the unfolding narrative of Lucia's struggle. Witnesses emerge, revealing the true nature of her situation, while the judge grapples with the implications of his ruling. The turning point comes when new evidence surfaces, exposing the corruption of Lucia's former landlord, which transforms the case from a simple theft to a complex web of injustice. This revelation not only impacts the judge's decision, but also sets the stage for a broader examination of societal issues surrounding poverty and vulnerability. In a climactic moment, Judge Fuentes delivers a verdict that defies expectations. Lucia is found guilty, yet her sentence is suspended. This decision reflects a profound understanding that justice cannot exist in a vacuum. It must consider the human stories that underpin the law. By mandating community service and legal aid rather than imprisonment, the judge champions a vision of justice that prioritizes rehabilitation over retribution. The courtroom's reaction is a mix of shock and relief, illustrating the powerful impact of empathy in the judicial process. As the story concludes, the implications of Judge Fuentes' ruling resonate beyond the courtroom. It sets a precedent for future cases, highlighting the necessity of compassion in the legal system. The narrative leaves readers contemplating the fate of Lucia and the corrupt landlord, inviting them to reflect on the complexities of justice in real life. To explore more stories that challenge societal norms and inspire change, subscribe and turn on notifications. Join us on this journey of understanding, where every tale offers a chance to see the world through a different lens. In the heart of a courtroom, where the scales of justice are meant to balance the law against morality, Judge Alejandro Fuentes finds himself at a crossroads that transcends legal boundaries. The case of Lucia Ramos, a woman ensnared in a web of desperation and survival, compels him to confront not only the evidence presented, but also the echoes of their shared past. As he navigates the complexities of the law, Fuentes is reminded that every case is not merely a series of facts and figures, but a tapestry woven with human experiences, struggles, and resilience. The courtroom transforms into a microcosm of society, where the rigid structures of justice clash with the fluidity of compassion. Through the unfolding drama, the narrative reveals that true justice is not solely defined by the application of laws, but by the recognition of the stories that lie beneath. Lucia's plight, marked by loss and hardship, challenges the judge to reconsider the implications of his decisions. His ruling, which allows for redemption rather than punishment, sets a powerful precedent, illustrating that the law can be a tool for healing rather than just retribution. This moment of clarity not only impacts Lucia and her children, but also reverberates through the community, igniting conversations about empathy, fairness, and the systemic issues that lead individuals to desperate measures. As the dust settles in the courtroom, the reflections of Judge Fuentes echo a profound truth. Justice must be a balance of accountability and understanding. It is a reminder that behind every accusation lies a story deserving of compassion. In a world often quick to judge, the courage to see beyond the surface can lead to transformative outcomes. The journey of Lucia Ramos serves as a beacon of hope, challenging us to embrace the complexities of human experience and to advocate for a justice system that prioritizes redemption alongside responsibility. In doing so, we not only uphold the law, but also nurture the very fabric of our humanity.